And just start this recording by ensuring that everybody is able to access the work fine. In 7A1 and also in the corresponding course for my other class, 7DIT1, there's Penarth Summer Carnival. Some of you may have accessed this work through the Year 7 spreadsheets course, which is fine. That's where we did put the work prior to Easter, and also there's also another one, Year 7 Summer 1. And I don't mean to confuse you at all here. 7A1 and 7D1 are the ones that we had ourselves, and we've been uploading graphics work and so on previously during the year up there. Year 7 spreadsheets was done prior to Easter, so there was a lot of students did the work through that. But also we had that. If I go into 7A1 again, let's go to classwork. Here we are, there was the lesson 1, 2. Now not all those have been finished, but what I will refer you to is video support tutorials where it tells you about how to format spreadsheet, how to do charts and graphs and so on. Now they're going to come in handy. They're only short videos. I've done this short video here, it's 7 minutes. But I just talk about how to make graphs and charts and that sort of thing in there. So they're going to come in handy for you when doing this activity. The Penarth Summer Carnival, and in a little bit I'm going to add a new course there for the second and third week. Now don't worry too much about how far you get through the work or whatever. I just want to see that you're able to do the work and work through it. It is new, it is different for a lot of people working away remotely from school, and certainly when we're on something like a spreadsheet. Sometimes doing the formulae, it can be very hard work if you're stuck on doing a formulae and it doesn't work right and so on. So we'll just go through a few of the things that can go wrong here. So wherever you access the work from, as I say, it could also be from Year 7 Summer 1, which Miss Golding put up and Mrs. Golding put up. Here we are. So there's the Penarth Summer Festival. I'll talk about the sponsorship in a little bit, but the Penarth Summer Festival, and if I go into that, it's Task 1. It's exactly the same as what I've got in my courses. In any case, exactly the same work, but I know that a lot of people did it in here. Not a problem at all, but let's go and have a look through one of my courses. So I'm going to go into 7A IT1, click classwork, and let's go to Penarth Summer Carnival. There's an introduction to it, and it talks about in the introduction what's happening in the carnival, and it wants you to take part and to save tasks and so on in your Google Drive, and I'll show you that in just a moment as well. However, I'm just going to close that window, go back to this, and let's go and look at Task 1. Task 1 gives you a little bit of some data here. It says the table is summary of accounts and so on. What's the profit? Well, this is simple mathematics. Income is the amount of money that comes in, but you've also had you probably had to buy coconuts, probably had to buy a few things for the coconut shy, maybe some of the other materials for keeping the scores and how many they hit and so on. But you can see they've made a £70 profit, so I'm going to keep that. And I'm going to store that and so on, but I'm also then going to make a copy of that and save it into my own drive, and that's what I go into. And if I just direct it to my drive, I can go into my Year 7 folder, and if I don't have a Year 7 folder, well, let's go and have a look. I have already, but if you don't, down in this corner you can make a brand new folder. So what I'll just call this 1AAAA for now. And the purpose of that is because it's going to appear right at the very start. So 1AAA, save it into that place, click OK, and it's going to save a copy of Task 1 into that 1AAA folder. Alright, so that's now my copy. That's now different. If I just move this down, I've got Task 1 in Google Docs, but this is my copy. And if I call this something else, I'll call that Task 1. Attempted Task 1. You don't have to put your name on it, because when you shared it with me by using share, then it's going to tell me who's sent it in any case. So if I look at my drive, you can see there's my folder 1AA, and in there there'll be one file which is the attempted task one that I've just made, and it tells me the time. Look. Okay, so that's how I'm saving my work there. So now I'm going to work at, there we are, so I'll say, I know I made a £70 profit there. I know, oh, best get it right as it's on video. This one here is £57.25 and £12. Oh my word, I have to do a little bit of maths, but it's not particularly difficult maths here. 25 pence, so £45, and here we are. So we've, what have I made? £71, and so on. I keep doing that. That's the mathematics that we would need to do in order to do the whole of that table. Then it tells me create the above table in a spreadsheet using Microsoft Excel. Use Microsoft Excel if you've got it at home, and then you can upload it at a later point, or if you so wish, because that's what the pre-Easter tasks were all about, I'm going to go to my drive. So I'm going to go to Google and Drive. Note I'm logged in as glewis@stanwell.org. So I'm going to do Drive. There's the folder 1AA. So I'm going to do that. Go into here. Again, if you haven't got that folder, just make a new folder, and it'll ask you the name of the folder. 1AA, or year 7 is probably a better title for that. The reason I'm using 1AA, so it appears here rather than me having to scroll down here in the video to go and access it. Okay, so I'm using 1AAA. I can always later on rename it in any case, so rename that folder year 7. So if I double click on that, in that folder now I'm going to go to new sheets, and I'm going to create a brand new spreadsheet. Alright, so I'm going to call this task 1. Penarth Carnival. Right, the task asks create the above table in spreadsheet using, right, so I'm going to add that now to this spreadsheet here. So I've put the table in here. I can widen out the columns. This is all in those videos that prior to with my titles. I'm going to make those just a little bit larger, make them stand out, maybe size 18, and maybe embolden them or unbolden them, whichever. Right, the next task asks me add 2 other suitable activities for the summer carnival. So under here I'm going to add, what else would we have to do? Sleigh rides, we'll say. I know it's a summer carnival, but we put in sleigh rides. The income from that was £200. Oh, £200, but it cost me £150 to get the sleighs. The second one, I'm going to have so Dodgem rides. The income was £112, and it cost me £50 to do that. Right. So a few things about formatting and so on. We can have a look at the format here, and I need to have these the same. So I'm going to resize these to a size 14. I think that looks about right. I'm going to get these. They maybe look around a size 11. Ooh, no, they're not quite. Or I'm going to center them. And you know, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to use Format Painter. Format Painter is a nice tool because it's going to take the formatting from that, and it's just going to paint it all over those. And it's just going to make them exactly the same font size and font. I'm now going to right align these. All the options are up here. Underneath the main toolbar. And also I'm going to do the format. What else? I want to format these 2 cells as well. They're going to need the borders as well in a moment. Right, the next task asks for. Now I'm going to go step through these because some people have emailed me to say they weren't too sure what to do. Complete the table by entering the missing data. Use a formula to calculate the profit. Now you'll notice it's £70 profit for coconut shy. If the costs went up to £40, let's say, we don't make a profit of £70. So this becomes an issue because I'm actually now incorrect in my forecasting. I need to change that to £50 because I've only made £50 on it. But the spreadsheet really should be doing all of this for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a formula. Now if you get this sort of error, it can be a little annoying. So equals that minus that. Notice it's C6 minus D6, or wherever that cell happens to be, alright? So minus, which is just a hyphen, it gives you an error. There's a little bit of an issue. It's a pain, it is, with Google Drive. It's the pound sign that causes the problem. So if I do that, and we'll put it back, you notice that it's gone back to currency again. So I'm going to do format number, and I'll just put it as a number, and you'll see it's basically I've got to get rid of the pound signs. I've gone and typed them in, but you need to get rid of them because it sees it as a piece of text and it can't take the text away from each other. So let me just edit all of these to get rid of the pound signs. Right, I've done that, so just make sure they're numbers. Now I can go and do equals that cell minus that cell equals. Check it's £50. Of course this was back at £20, so look what happens with the £50 result. It changes it back to 70 automatically without me changing it. So now I'm going to say equals that minus that, and I can do it. Or, as we've done, we copied these down. Look, it fills them all out for me. But when I do copy them down, check your sum of your answer. Look, 200 minus 150, £50. There we are. If that's right, then I know I can carry on. Okay. Now the next task, it then says format all values as currency. Well, I think I've already done that. Oh no, I haven't. So let's put that in there. So format number, and we go down to currency. You can either choose other currencies, more currencies, but the pound sign is here. But if it's not there, choose more currencies and then have a look down. You might have to find Great Britain, and it may not appear here because I've already chosen the pound sign previously in any case. So I'm going to use pound signs. Click OK, and everything's got a pound sign in it. Okay, right. The next task then says add a row at the bottom to calculate the total for each column for income, profits and so on. So I'm just going to add down the bottom total. Total. Again, I'm going to make use of Format Painter. Click on that and I'm going to put all the way along there. So equals. Now total is worked out by using equals sum and highlighting all the cells in that column. Press enter and it gives you 1962. So I'm just going to do that with the next one. Equals sum, open brackets, highlight. Now I'm not going to finish off the brackets this time. Let's see what happens. There we are. Google Sheets manages that okay and adds the bracket for me, although I'd prefer to put them in myself and control it. But let's see what I now do if I do equals sum and I don't open brackets. So now this time I'm going to highlight, but this time I haven't opened brackets and it's giving me an error hash name. Oh, what's the problem? I haven't opened brackets, so make sure you open the brackets, and again I prefer to close the brackets and click enter, and there we are. We've got a total profit of 1,230. You should find that that minus that gives us that in any case, so I'm just going to do that underneath equals that's minus that, and it gives you £1,230.48. Right, however I don't need that there, but that's useful for a check. Right, let's whistle through the next ones. We've done all of those. Now underneath your totals, add the most profitable activity. Now use a function to display the activity that has made the largest profit. Well, you remember we had max and min, so I'm going to say equals max of highlight all of these. Notice when I highlight, I didn't highlight the total, otherwise the total would be larger. So £337.20 is the largest, and that's using max. Later on, if you need to use min, which finds the smallest, again, it'll find the smallest value. It's not what the task is asking for, but £45.25 is the smallest value. That's for the tombola. Didn't make a lot of money, but 337, which was the barbecue stand, does make a lot of money. Okay, so I would write that in. Then it says format the table to improve its appearance. So let's go and put highlight. So I can change the colour of the font. In fact, I can change the colour to that. That's not particularly helpful because I can't see it. But if I change the background to blue, it does stand out. I can highlight all of these maybe to a different colour and maybe change the background to a slightly grey colour or something like that. All the totals at the bottom. I'll change the font, but I'm also going to make them bold, maybe even italic at the bottom, and this one here italic as well, and so on. But the task does ask you, make sure add colour to the cells. Done that. Change the font size, merge and center titles, add an appropriate image. Well, let's see if we merge. In fact, well, let's maybe center those. There's the alignment. Highlight all of these. In fact, I quite like those over on that side, but I'm going to center that as well. And also it asks you to add an image, so you're going to have to paste an image from. So if I just search on Google, so I've just taken a Carnival rides from Google, and I'm just going to paste that into, if you right hand click and try to paste, it puts that image in, and there we are. So I've got a Carnival image onto my spreadsheet, and I may need to view to zoom out a little bit. So I'm just using the shift key on this to allow myself to zoom out just a little bit, or to move, and etc. So I could even put a title up the top here, Penarth Carnival, just to help out with that. And so that should help you through that first task. Let me go and check we've got everything. Oh, also notice all changes saved. You don't have to keep going to file and save. It's a little bit of an annoyance. I prefer that you do have to save, but Drive automatically saves your work. And so when it's done, which activity do you think should be dropped? Well, that's probably the tombola, because it only makes £45 regardless of how good it is. Write your opinion on a spreadsheet underneath your table, so in one of the cells write that. And then it says extension task, create a graph of the profit. Well, here's the profit, so I'm going to highlight all of that. And I'm also going to use the control key and highlight the profit. And then I'm going to insert, well, what graph shall I do? Let's choose a particular chart. So there's a particular chart, and I could choose maybe a pie chart or whatever else, and that would, or go back to a column chart if you want. Okay, but I'll remove that just for a moment, but remind you that that is back in video support tutorial. Number 4 is about charts and graphs, and that describes to you how to create a chart in your spreadsheets. Okay, so back into the task, label your axes. It's also there in charts and graphs as well. So that's all of that. And just to finish off, this is for those students who weren't too sure last week, that is the finished presentation. You can share. Oh, if I can't spell my name right. And if we do glewis@stanwell.org, and I would share my work, and have a nice day. That's a nice thing to say to me. Maybe get you some more marks, or something like that. Okay, and then send that, and I'll get that then in my email to tell me that you've finished that piece of work. So have a go at it. If you're still struggling, by all means email. I obviously want you to get the fundamentals right, but if you're still struggling after doing this or doing any of this, email and I'll get back to you. Okay, and I'll get back to you individually to ensure that you're able to work on this. But obviously look through the video again, and I'm pretty sure you'll be fine getting through the activity. I'll post another activity now for the second task that's coming up.